All right, Ithaca, love Ithaca. How great is Ithaca? I had 2 kids that went to school in Ithaca. I spent a lot of money in Ithaca. I bought a lot of beer in Ithaca. All right. Let me say how great it is to be here. Let me say how great it is to have nice weather. I live in Buffalo. I don't know what it's been like here, but we've been in hibernation for 6 months. It is so great to get out and have the door, or whatever that is, open. It's fabulous. I want to just acknowledge some special guests. You're all special, but I'm going to acknowledge some folks. I'd like to start by acknowledging the chair of the Tompkins County Legislature, who I was chatting with outside briefly. We had a great conversation, Martha Robertson. And the mayor of the city of Ithaca, Svante Myrick. Svante. You know Ithaca is chill when the mayor is wearing sneakers and a suit. I love that. Hey, look, my tie clip is a paper clip. So I'm all about chill, okay? This is like my rebellion. I refuse to give in to the system. Senator Pamela Helming is here. Acting Commissioner of the New York State Department of Transportation, Paul Karras, is here. Supervisor of the Town of Lansing, Edward Levine. Mayor of the Village of Lansing, Donald Hartel. Tompkins County Sheriff, and the man I want to thank for not ever arresting any of my children, Kenneth Lansing, is here. Schuyler County Sheriff William Yesman. Mayor of the City of Cortland, Brian Tobin. The entire Tompkins County Legislature and all of our other elected officials in attendance, thank you for being here. President of Ithaca College, Shirley Colado. Shirley, you owe me like at least a holiday card or something. Hey, thank you, Howard. Did I pronounce the name right? I'm about to lose my job. I'm looking at the governor, he's like, no. Good thing I only pay you $1, he said. How is your name pronounced properly? Collado. Whoa, Collado. Collado. Did I do? All right, thank you. President of Tompkins Cortland Community College, Orinthia Montague. All right. Not bad. He's not a total loser. President of Tompkins County Area Development, Michael Stamm. President and CEO of the Tompkins Chamber of Commerce, Jennifer Tavares. And I think that's pretty much it. Thank you for coming. Listen, I live in Buffalo. I live in beautiful Buffalo. Any of you been to beautiful Buffalo? All right. And I've lived there for 37 years. And for any of you who really know Buffalo, you know how dramatically Buffalo has turned the corner. And I had the opportunity to participate in that process with the governor. And the reason, you might say, why would somebody who cannot pronounce names do a job for $1 a year? It's because I lived in upstate New York. I traveled all over the country. And it was so difficult going out across the country, seeing growth and prosperity almost everywhere I went. Almost everywhere I went, it was growing and prosperous. Then I'd come back to Buffalo, and it was always like kind of a bit of a depressing reality check. And that's not just a Buffalo story, right? That's not a Buffalo story. It's whether it's Syracuse or Rochester or Binghamton. Ithaca probably in some ways has been insulated a bit from some of that, but you know what I'm talking about. You know, upstate, everywhere, every city, Binghamton, doesn't matter where you're talking about, has had a tough 40 years. So what I appreciate and what I have appreciated is the opportunity to be empowered to do your own strategic plan. I've been in business my whole life. I have been in business my whole life. And every good business develops its own strategic plan based on its unique strengths. You identify your strengths, you double down on your assets. You have amazing assets. You have amazing assets here. The governor has given us the ability to identify and double down on our assets. It doesn't matter whether it's Binghamton University or Cornell University or the Ithaca College or the community colleges in this region, whether it's STEM or the sciences, the chess program we do with Cornell, the agriculture we invest in with respect to hemp and plant sciences and so many other things. We invest in the historic buildings. He believes in downtown revitalization. He believes in bringing back these wonderful places and spaces that used to be vibrant but then went through long periods of decay. You want to grow your economy? You better keep young people. You want to grow your economy? You better attract young people. Every one of these upstate regions has lost a disproportionate share of its young population for 40 years. The greatest loss of population was people from 18 to 34 years old. When you lose your young people, you have continued economic and population decline baked in the demographic cake. It's that simple. When people of childbearing age leave and go have their kids somewhere else, they're starting businesses somewhere else, they're buying houses somewhere else, they're buying appliances somewhere else, they're buying cars somewhere else, they're raising children somewhere else, they're going to schools somewhere else. And those are some of the most productive people that you can have and need. And then unless we change the laws of biology, right? Unless we change the laws of biology, which if there's any city in the state that can figure out how to change the laws of biology, I task those academics and researchers with that mission. But unless you can change the laws of biology, you don't have a future without young people. And what we've done and what the governor has done, he's invested the Better Binghamton Fund and in STEM initiatives, in pharmacy schools, in nursing schools, in particle accelerators, in agriculture, in clean energy competitions, in tradable sectors of the economy, in businesses like Imperium 3, which is generating the next generation of clean energy, in business plan competitions that attracts the next generation of clean energy technology, in centers of excellence and centers of advanced technology, in incubators across the southern tier, in clusters like transportation with Alstom and the myriad of transportation companies you have. There isn't a company in this region that has considered growing and investing that the state of New York and Empire State Development hasn't been involved with and encouraging of and supportive of. We invest in downtowns. We have a myriad number of projects we've invested in workforce. We invested in tradable sectors of this economy, and we continue to double, and we invest in innovation. Those are the 4 pillars of economic development. That's what the governor has brought together. We've seen tremendous progress, as I think you know, here across the southern tier. And it has been my pleasure to work with this governor who for the first time has gotten all of you off of the sidelines. Economic development was a spectator sport. You all watched with great curiosity on how the state made decisions and wondered how that happened, why it happened. Now you're all on the field and in the game. It's your economic development plan that we're following. You're identifying your key assets. Your regional council has earned hundreds of millions of dollars. And it has been an impressive effort. And I want to thank everybody, Tom Tranter, Harvey Stenger, and all the Regional Economic Development Council members. Give all those folks a hand if you would. And the governor also, against a backdrop of innovation and workforce and place-based investments in tradable sectors of the economy, has exhibited fiscal discipline for the first time in a very long time. And as someone who heads economic development, you need to show companies that you're being disciplined, fiscally disciplined, and to the point of our meeting today, has invested in infrastructure, which is why we're all gathered here today. So infrastructure, fiscal discipline and sensibility, holistic economic development, all of your engagement, you're seeing joblessness go way down, you're seeing growth of young population for the first time, and I think we have a strategy, your strategy, which is working. So I want to thank all of you, and I want to thank and introduce my new good friend, which is the chair of the Tompkins County Legislature, Martha Robertson. No, sorry. I was fired once earlier in the program, and I'll be fired twice in the program. I want to introduce the person. He's going to just kick me off the stage. Wait.
Let's give a big round of applause to Howard Zemsky.
That's the governor.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I've worked with Howard for many years. I say the same thing to him before every event. Stick to the script, Howard. He never sticks to the script, but he is a genius when it comes to economic development, and he's exactly right. We got involved because when we started economic development in upstate New York, he started in what on the numbers was the toughest area in Buffalo, Western New York. He was a businessman who came in and brought his business expertise and literally turned Buffalo around. And he said, thanks, I'm going back to the private sector. And I said, actually, you're not. You're actually going to sign on and do economic development statewide. And he has been fantastic. Let's give him another round of applause. This is an exciting day for me because we're doing two things today. We're doing an economic development announcement that is very, very exciting and will be transformational. And I'm doing a little piece of state business also while I'm here. This airport is not just an airport, it's also a place that buys and sells aircraft. The state badly needs a new aircraft. It has for a lot of years. The state plane is legendary that it's so old. There's been a number of incidents. You get on the plane, it actually strengthens your bond to religion, because whatever religion you have, as soon as you step on this plane, you pray, you kneel, you bow, whatever you can do, because you understand your own mortality and there is a higher power. So I appealed to the legislature and I said, look, it's a safety issue, because forget me, there are other people that fly on the plane. And the legislature has consented finally to buy a new state plane. It's a used plane. The colors are blue and gold of the state, as you know. When you look at the flag, you see the state is bluish. It's like a blue-purple with a gold border. And a plane that would represent the state and the greatest state in the nation, and a plane befitting the state of New York, and makes a statement with the state colors. It's safer. It's actually moves faster than the current state plane. And the state legislature, which I have a good relationship, approved the purchase. And I think it's a good use of public dollars given the safety concerns. And here is the new plane that we're going to buy, which it is a major step up. It is faster than the current plane. It is safer than the current plane. It's a wood propeller, but it's a really strong wood, so I feel confident. And I want to thank Senator Helming and my colleagues in the legislature for the upgrade in the aircraft. Mayor Savanti Myrick, Howard made fun of your sneakers. I actually gave the mayor those sneakers for Christmas, so and they look very good, and the mayor is doing a phenomenal job. We're going to hear from him in a moment. Your chair, Martha Robertson, who, as you know, is tenacious and passionate, almost a little scary at times with her tenacity. We were at an event, a cocktail party type reception, and she grabbed my arm with passion and was talking about the project we're talking about today. And I said, okay, I got it, Madam Chairperson. And she would not let go. It was state police had to come over. It became an incident. They had to pry her hands off my arm. And I said, I promise, really. She said, I want it in writing. I said, but you're holding my arm. I can't even sign. Chair Robertson, let's give her a great job. And Senator Helming, my colleague, thank you. Thank you for all you do. Let's give her a round of applause. And we have our Transportation Commissioner, Paul Karras, who was very involved in making this happen. And just a longtime friend of mine, who's my inspiration, Irene Stein. Pleasure to be with you. So, Howard told you the story, but you knew the story because you lived this story. Upstate New York went through an economic decline for decades. He says quickly, because he says everything quickly, Howard, 40 years of decline. And when you think about it, it's almost unimaginable. But that's what it's been. 60s, 70s, the economy cycled away from manufacturing, cycled away from the Northeast, cycled away from America to other countries. And nobody stepped in to retrofit, to redesign the upstate economy. And it was a slow decline for 40 years. Lost population, lost businesses, lost revenue. It became tougher and tougher on local governments. After 40 years, we came in, we did an about-face. We did a 180-degree turn. And we said, look, it makes no sense to invest in downstate New York when you have upstate New York that is continuing to deteriorate. It's not right morally. It's not right ethically. We are one state. We are one family. It's not right practically. Because if you're hemorrhaging upstate, then the growth downstate is actually diminished. The intelligent thing to do is invest in upstate New York, make it productive, generate jobs, generate revenues. And that was a total transformation of the mindset. Remember, the state legislature is primarily from downstate New York. Most of the population is downstate New York, so everything was geared towards downstate New York. And Senator Helming and her upstate colleagues would argue to the legislature, and they were blowing into the wind. We came in and we turned that 180 degrees. My administration has invested more in upstate New York than any governor in the history of the state of New York. And I say invested because it is an investment, and it is going to pay dividends. Because the more jobs we create, the more revenues for the city, the more revenues for the county, the more revenues for the state, the more young people come back, the more people stay. The economy drives all. And if you don't have the economy working and you're not generating revenue, then all the good wishes and all the good ideas go out the window because you don't have the money to pay for them. And that's what we've been focused on. Also, there's a new realization on what it takes to grow the economy. We had this old New York mentality that we're New York and businesses will come here. Why? Because we're New York and because they've always been here. That was true for a period of time. It is no longer true. Howard Zemsky got this because he was a businessman who went all around the country, all around the globe, and he understood what it took to get businesses. I was HUD Secretary, Housing and Urban Development, under Bill Clinton. And we were the largest economic development lender. And I would sit there all day long, and a city would come in with this state asking for federal funds because they wanted to solicit a business. And they were going to try to get this business to go from this city to move to their city. And it is a national, if not international, competition. We were just in Rochester announcing a new company that came in. They are in 169 countries. They can go anywhere. They had 5 states bidding for them. They're not going to just come. You have to reach out, you have to engage them, you have to be able to sell them, and you have to be able to invest with them. This is now an economic marketplace. Where are they going to go? They're going to go to a place that has low taxes. They're going to go to a place that has a skilled workforce, because all these companies need a skilled workforce. They're going to go to places that they can get to easily and quickly, to get in and to get out. They're going to go to places with thriving downtown areas. Why? Because they're all attracting young people, millennials. And these millennials are not like the generation before. Their dream is not, I'm going to move to the suburbs and I'm going to have a patio and a backyard and a grill and a 2-car garage. They want to be in a downtown area. They don't want to get in a car and drive. They want to be able to walk to the restaurant. They want to be able to walk to the social place. They want nature. They want recreation. And that's where they're going to go. So you have to provide what that business wants, because if you don't, somebody else will. And that acknowledgement that this is a national and global competition, and we weren't even in the game. Especially upstate New York. Why? Because we didn't have the money to invest in the business to get them there. And that was the 180-degree shift that we made. We've invested $36 billion. It's paying dividends already in new businesses, new jobs, and new revenues. And we changed the economic development approach, which is rather than sit there in Albany and dictate, we did what we could do from Albany. We reduced the taxes, we provide the investment capital, and we invested in higher education, and we invested in opening new markets, advanced manufacturing, new ideas for hemp development and a hemp industry where our seed capital, pardon the pun, could make a difference. But for the actual plan, we went to the local community. And we said, you know your assets, you know your strength, you know what you can do with Cornell, you know what you can do with agriculture. You come together and you develop a plan, and we will fund your plan. Because the best ideas, the best business plans come from that region. What works in the Southern Tier does not work in the Finger Lakes, does not work in Western New York, does not work in the North Country. They say we're one state, yes, but we have very different assets throughout the state. And for a business plan to work, it has to work for that region, because that's what works economically or not. That's what Southern Tier soaring is. That's your Regional Economic Development Council that came together and won a $500 million grant to spur the economy. Statewide, while we're doing the regional plans, statewide we're investing $100 billion in infrastructure. Why? Because the given for every region and every business is infrastructure, is transportation, is the ability to get in and get out, and most importantly, airports. The approach is working. It's working everywhere. Unemployment in the Southern Tier is down, is 6%, down from 8.4%. We have much more to do, but we turned the battleship. We turned the economic tide, which was very hard to do. After 40 years of decline, you have to stop that decline and pivot and start getting it in the right direction, which is very hard, which we have accomplished. But we have to keep going, because we do have more to do. And today we're going to take the next step forward. Ithaca provides a regional economic growth center, right? It's a nucleus, and it spins off economic activity for the region. You look at the Ithaca economy, it is playing more and more of a role on the global stage. People are coming from all over the world to come to Ithaca. Well, make it easy to get there and make it a pleasant experience. Airports are the new front door to the economy. You have business people who never even leave the airport. They fly into a country, they meet their business people in the airport, they have a meal, they get back on the plane, and they leave. That's what an airport is now. They are the economic hubs of the next century. This nation has missed the boat entirely on this. We've missed the boat on infrastructure and growth entirely in this state and nationwide. You fly into any airport internationally, and you're amazed at what they've done. And then you fly back to New York, and you're embarrassed at what we haven't done. We sat on our laurels for too long. You know, this nation was about building and growing. We were the first. New York was the first. Everything we did was the first. The Erie Canal was the first. The Empire State Building was the first. The bridges, the tunnels, the subway systems, they were all the first. And then we did nothing for 50 years. And we watched the existing system deteriorate. So now we have to go back and fix a deteriorating system. But we never advanced the ball. The best thing that President Trump talked about in his campaign, not to get political, was he promised a $1.5 trillion infrastructure program. And I thought that was the smartest thing he talked about. It has now disappeared, and they spent that money in a tax cut, which I think is not going to do anything for anyone except the super rich. But that's what the nation needed. Large investment in infrastructure, which, by the way, is providing jobs for middle-class people who are not the high-skilled, high-tech 27-year-old, and build the infrastructure for the country. The country continues to lag, but we are actually the most aggressive building state in the United States of America today. To give you an idea, President Trump started talking about a $1.5 trillion national infrastructure program. That program has now become a $200 million national program. New York alone is spending $100 billion, more than any state in the country. And we're starting roads, bridges, mass transit, but airports. Downstate, a new LaGuardia Airport, a new JFK Airport, which is where most of the tourism comes in and most of the international travelers come in. But upstate New York, $200 million in airport redevelopment. New airport in Syracuse, new airport in Rochester, new airport Elmira Corning, new airport in Plattsburgh, and today we're announcing the transformation of the Ithaca Tompkins Regional Airport because it is about time. Thank you. Thank you. What does the transformation of the airport do? Increase economic opportunity, increase retail, increase flight capacity, get more people in and out, and make it a more pleasurable experience. You look at your leading manufacturers and leading industries, they are all internationally related. And that is where the future is. Despite how important an airport is, your airport hasn't been updated in 25 years. Lacks ingenuity and character, that's a little strong. It has character. No, it has character. doesn't have overwhelming charisma, but it has character. Passenger screening equipment that is outdated, doesn't even meet the post-9/11 security concerns. Past security, there's nothing but vending machines, long lines at security. Ithaca deserves an airport that will fuel the economic growth and fuel the perception and the reality that you are the place for the future. The new airport facility will be nearly double in size. It will offer a world-class passenger experience, better ticket counter check-in experience, major security upgrades, 6 new gates to increase capacity, and it will have And it will have 3 new boarding bridges, adding to the 1 existing. So there'll be 4 boarding bridges with the 6 new gates. 4,000 square foot dining area, so people who want to have meetings and do business in the airport, you can do that. Consistent with the state's energy agenda, it will be completely solar powered and utilizing geothermal heat pumps. And there is another glaring deficiency to the current airport. If you're talking about international and you're talking about global, right now there's no customs facility, so you can't fly internationally to Ithaca. That is a major problem. That means to get here, you have to fly to another airport, clear customs, get on another plane, and fly to Ithaca. That is a non-starter. And it's no longer true, because the new airport will have a 5,000 square foot federal customs facility. And you will be able to fly directly from anywhere right to Ithaca and go through customs in Ithaca. And I think this is going to make all the difference in the world. The new airport will open the doors with a welcome sign to the international economy. State's awarding $14 million. It's going to make the $22 million plan renovation a reality. This is not a proposal. It's not a plan. It's not a we hope. It's not a maybe someday. We are doing it. We are doing it now. It is a reality. We're going to break ground. We are going to break ground this fall, meaning early fall, and it will be finished by 2019. So speed counts, getting things done counts. Government is very good at talking and planning and proposing. Historically, it's not that good at doing and executing and implementing, but we're all about getting things done, and we're going to get this done, and we're going to get it done right, and we're going to get it done on time. But there's more. I'm buying the plane, and there's something else. City of Ithaca has been developing its waterfront and has been doing a great job. We talked about thriving downtowns. It's from the Gospel of Howard Zemsky. Going back to those downtowns and redeveloping them, because we have beautiful downtowns all across upstate New York, beautiful history, beautiful architecture. We just moved away from them. We now have to do another 180 and move back to them. Ithaca is doing that brilliantly, and you feel the energy and you feel the thriving. Right on the waterfront, and the waterfront, I mentioned I was HUD secretary, you look at all of the great redevelopments. Water is a magnet for people. It's an attractant. They like to be near the water, the feeling, the energy, just as the proximity to the asset. Ithaca has a beautiful waterfront. There is a DOT facility that is currently right in the middle of the waterfront redevelopment. It's a DOT maintenance facility. It's 7.6 acres. It's interrupting the hiking and biking trail, and it's interrupting all the redevelopment of the corridor. It's south of Cayuga Lake and Ithaca Farmers Market. It makes no sense to have a DOT facility on prime real estate on the waterfront. And sometimes you need a little common sense and you need a little creativity. We're going to take that DOT maintenance facility, we're going to bring it to the new airport, we're going to make that site available on the waterfront for commercial development once we build a new facility. So that site will be open now to continuing to grow that waterfront redevelopment, whatever the best market use is, if it's a nature use, or if it's a restaurant, or if it's a hiking trail, or if it's commercial space, but continue to grow that downtown development. The community has been asking to move that DOT facility for more than 20 years. So there's always a reason why it can't be done. We're in the business of finding out how to get it done, and it is done. We're going to do design build on the new DOT facility. Design build accelerates the development. It should be done in 18 months. As soon as the new building is up, everything is going to be off that site, and it will go to market use. So we have a new airport, and we have a new prime development opportunity. It is unleashing the economic potential. It's smart government. I know it has been a long road economically, but I also know that we have turned a corner and that the economic potential is undeniable. We just have to fuel it and catalyze it and sometimes just get out of its way. And that's what we're doing here together. And working together, I guarantee the best is yet ahead. Congratulations and thank you.
Look, I knew what he was going to say, and I'm still speechless. I was like, this is amazing. Governor, thank you so very much. We are just gobsmacked. This is wonderful. We've been waiting for this a very long time, as you said. It's an amazing day for all of Tompkins County and for the city of Ithaca and for the many, many people who come and go and then come back and stay, because that's what a lot of us do. Let me just ask, how many in the room went to one of our colleges or universities and came back or stayed? How many of us got captured by the higher ed and stayed here and helped to build this community? Thank you very much to our presidents. We're delighted that you're here as well. You know, to me, Governor Cuomo, this is just a real testament to your leadership and your vision. There's just no other way to talk about it. Without you, we would not be here today. We would not be celebrating this kind of big picture, this kind of spirit of growth and entrepreneurship and collaboration. So thank you so very much. I need to also thank your wonderful staff, Kelly Cummings and Kathy Calhoun, Paul Karras. Paul Karras and everybody at the DOT who really rolled up your sleeves on this one. Letizia Tagliafiero, and I get points for saying that right, I think. And Kara Griffin, thank you all very, very much for helping us to be here today. And I've got to say, the real catalyst is over there in the back, and everybody kept saying, where is he? Where is he? Mike Hall. So Mike Hall's the airport manager, but he has history too. What did you do for the governor's father? What were you, what was the adjutant general? Drove the Governor Mario Cuomo around New York State, had to make sure, and that was when the roads weren't quite as good. It was a while ago. So, Mike, and I'm going to borrow from Michael Stamm a phrase, your irrational exuberance has really made this happen, just kind of swept away all the barriers and all the yeah buts. So thank you so much. So today is about the future of our growing county, but first we have to go back a little more than 20 years. That's how long the city of Ithaca and Tompkins County have been working with the DOT to try to move the facility, the residency, off of our waterfront. So I'm not going to go all the way back to the 90s when Svante was 8. So, but some of us have been working on it anyway. But just the last 10 or so years, I do have to thank a few people. I asked him first if he was getting tired of the age jokes. He said, when I'm 40, then I'll, all right. So we have a little while. So from Tompkins County, Barbara Blanchard, former county legislator. Ed Marks, former commissioner of planning and sustainability, who's with us today. Joe Mariana, county administrator, former, who's with us today as well. Thank you. From the Tompkins County Chamber of Commerce, Jean McFeeters and Jennifer Tavares. From TCAD, Tompkins County Area Development, Michael Stamm and Martha Armstrong. Yes. From the city of Ithaca, Joanne Cornish, Nels Bone, and I'll even go back to Herman Sieverding when he was a city guy. From the DOT, Eric Buck and David Smith worked with us a few years back on our feasibility study. And from the state legislature, Senator Pam Helming, thank you so very much for your support and for being here today. Our gratitude also to Senators Tom O'Mara and Jim Seward. They played direct roles in this story along the way, and to Assemblywoman Barbara Lifton, who's been supportive as well. New York State also helped in 2016 with that feasibility study that I mentioned, to looking at the redevelopment site, what was the potential on that waterfront property. The study showed what we could create, a vibrant mixed-use waterfront district, the kind of space everybody, you don't have to be a millennial to love the waterfront. You don't have to be a millennial to say this waterfront trail that the Chamber of Commerce spearheaded right past the DOT site. This trail is awesome. I'm going to get on the bike. I'm going to walk. It's good for all of us. And that's what brings people to Tompkins County. That's what keeps them here. So this new district that we looked at, this is what we could create on the waterfront site with housing that we desperately need. So that's the next pitch, but I won't elaborate here. Housing, yes, we need housing. Anything you can do on that. Housing, commercial spaces, a restaurant, possibly a hotel. Today the site is valued at $2.5 million. Because it's valued according to the current use, $2.5 million. This feasibility study identified these uses that we could make of it $43 million. So this will be truly transformative, truly. And we're going to have a few ribbon cuttings for you to come back to, Governor. So everybody agreed that the DOT should move. But where? And that's where Mike Hall stepped in. A rational exuberance to solve that problem. When Governor Cuomo announced the Upstate Airport Initiative competition, he called on upstate communities to envision the airport of tomorrow. Mike Hall said, no problem, we've been doing that. With his typical energy, he pulled together his team, the Air Service Board, TCAD, Cornell University, Roxanne Noble, Josh Nally, CNS engineers, and many others, and they have created the vision for the airport expansion that you've seen today. The transformation of the Ithaca Tompkins Regional Airport will give us the innovative world-class airport that we need and deserve. For those almost 30,000 students from Cornell University, Ithaca College, and Tompkins Cortland Community College, 30,000 students and their families. They come from every corner of the United States and from more than 115 different countries. We need this expanded airport for the 80 companies in the Cornell Business and Technology Park, just right over there, 2,000 employees in a park that's growing. We need this airport for our growing advanced manufacturing sector, so they have access to their supply chain, to their business partners, and to venture capital. I tell you, venture capital folks with a check, they don't want to make connections. They want to have that meeting in the airport, as the governor has said. They want to get in and get out, but then come back again because, hey, this is actually a pretty nice place to be. And for the thousands of visitors who come here every year to enjoy the incredible beauty and culture of Tompkins County, we need this airport. But Mike's vision went beyond the terminal, all the way to downtown, down to that waterfront facility that the DOT has operated since 1958. He saw what could be done on airport land to create a 21st century residency for the DOT. So you guys are going to have room to grow right next to Route 13, a great opportunity for the DOT as well to continue serving our communities. And Mike saw how that would open up the waterfront for the community. So we celebrate that transformation today as well. But that's not all. That's a lot, but it's not all. We're also extremely proud to celebrate that our airport will exemplify Governor Cuomo's vision for a sustainable future. The airport has collaborated with Cayuga Solar, submitted a proposal just on Tuesday to NYSEG to heat and cool the expanded airport with geothermal heat pumps backed up by solar power and battery storage. Yeah. As folks in this town know, especially in the town of Lansing, we have a gas supply problem. We worked on a truly unique collaborative effort to create an alternative, to say we need economic development, we need energy for growth, but we don't think we need fossil fuels to do it, and that's what we're doing here. If our proposal is successful with NYSEG, Ithaca Tompkins will be the airport that runs on solar. Projections are that our annual energy costs will actually go down by $50,000 a year, even while the building is 30% larger. That's a pretty good trick. And there's potential for a microgrid connecting the entire Cornell Business and Technology Park, including 5 other buildings owned by Tompkins County, to transition off of gas to geothermal, supported by solar. We can provide the clean energy we need to grow, and we will, starting right here. This grant makes this possible. Thank you. So Governor Cuomo, thank you so much for your leadership that has inspired this collaboration. We would not be here without your vision. Thank you for investing the state's resources in Tompkins County's future. And please consider this an invitation back to those 3 different ribbon cuttings we were going to count. So thank you. So today, we are celebrating what can happen when local and state governments work together, when the public and private sectors work together, when problem solvers and visionaries put their hands and dreams together. And we know great things always happen when Tompkins County and the city of Ithaca work together. So I just have to say, I couldn't get away with the sneakers, and you know it, right? It's like, yeah. So nah, probably not. But at any rate, it's my pleasure to introduce one of our most frequent partners, the mayor of Ithaca, Savante Myrick.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You know, for the record, these are my formal sneakers. Okay, these are my dress sneakers, and I thought they were okay. I actually don't wear. I should explain in case anybody thinks that I intended to be disrespectful. I can't wear suits around downtown because people think there's a funeral that they didn't know about. This is sort of our style. The governor has done his job by explaining these exciting developments, and Martha's thanked everybody there is to thank. So my job is just to wrap up, but I want to say a few things before I do, just a couple minutes. To tell you that some of you might know that I was not born in Ithaca. I was raised in Earlville, New York, a small village of 800 people on the corner of Shenango and Madison County. And while fairly young, I've been very concerned about politics from a very young age. In fact, when I was 8 years old, I took my first political act, and that was to steal every Bob Dole sign in my village and hide them behind the garage. Something that I've been assured I can't be arrested for anymore. Ken Lansing, if that's not true, you'll let me know. And the reason, and part of the reason I've been very concerned about politics from a young age is because I had a strong sense that my family and my community were being left behind. What Governor Cuomo described felt very real, was very real in Earlville, New York. And I started watching these campaigns as early as 1995 and 1996. And there was not a statewide politician who didn't promise to bring more resources, more jobs, and more opportunity to upstate New York. And there was not a politician who did it. It's been my privilege to serve as mayor for the last 6 years and to tell you that I've seen up close and personal that Governor Cuomo was as good as his promise. That he has delivered for upstate New York, both for my mom and my grandparents who still live back home and for us in Ithaca. And there's exciting things happening in Ithaca. If you go downtown right now, well, good luck getting there, first of all, with the traffic, so I apologize for that. We're investing in our infrastructure. Remember, it's important. But once you fight through traffic and through the road work, when you get downtown, you will see cranes swinging. People of all ages bustling around the commons. You'll see a bunch of those new green Lime bikes zipping here and there. You'll see the kind of growth and economic opportunity that is the envy of communities all over the country. We're now leading New York State in job growth. But that didn't happen overnight, and it didn't happen on accident. It required the sort of investments that the governor mentioned. Rebuilding the commons would not have been possible without a $2 million investment from New York State. That $2 million investment leveraged $4.5 million from the feds, another $9 million from the city. So a $15 million project in total has generated over $200 million worth of direct private investment just on and off the commons. $2 million turned into that. If you go further west towards the waterfront, our waterfront trail, completed with the assistance of New York State, is bringing people from all over the region, not just the county, all over the region, to walk and to cycle between Stewart Park and Cass Park, to stop at the Boatyard Grill along the way, to stop at the Ithaca Farmers Market, to stop and watch a race between Cornell and one of those other terrible Ivy League schools. They can never catch us. They can't catch the big red on the water. And along that trail, people will look to their left and they'll wonder, what are this big pile of gravel and sand and industrial fencing doing in between the farmer's market and the Boatyard Grill? Because of this governor, because of this investment, 2 years from now, they won't wonder that. We will take one step closer to successfully shifting this airplane, the new state airplane, as actually the Tommy plane. A plane that was once built for the U.S. Army here in Tompkins County, here in Ithaca. A group of volunteers have restored and rebuilt this plane because it's important to recognize and uplift our history and our heritage. But it's equally important to recognize that we're not making airplanes anymore. Right? And those days of big industrial factories are over for our community. So finding ways to, while recognizing our heritage, lean into what our natural assets are, our universities, our tourism, our agribusiness, our service industry. Right? Leaning into those means taking planes like this and bringing them downtown into the heart of our community, into what Tompkins County is building into a heritage center. And guess what? That wouldn't be possible without who? Without New York State and Governor Cuomo's investment. So I want to say, as mayor, I want to thank the governor's staff for being such great partners. When things like this go well, you make me look good. Even if I'm in sneakers, you make me look good. But on behalf of my little sister, my two brothers, my mom and my grandparents, and that dirty little kid from a small town who felt left behind, and on behalf of all those little kids who are going to grow up in a New York State that they know cares about them, I want to thank you. Governor Andrew Cuomo, thank you so much for your work. We appreciate it. Thank you all. Hope you have a good day. Appreciate it.